All right. Hey, everyone. We're here with Dr. Carl Hargrove talking about what life is like for him during the Safer at Home initiative. So, Carl, good to see you, sir. How
Hey,
are you?
good. Hey, I'm doing well. I sure am. Taking advantage of the opportunities in front of us.
I know that in addition to doing stuff for the seminary, you're also busy doing things for Grace Advance and Grace Community Church. What has your ministry outside of TMS been like during quarantine?
Well, boy, outside of TMS, Grace Advance, I had a number of trips, actually several, to the East Coast, but those are canceled or delayed. Life changed just like that for so many of us. But what I've done, though, here in my home office, I've converted it into a studio. If you would think this is like a preaching lab workshop here. I have tripods with lighting and camera, and even a big music stand that I use for my pulpit. And I've actually preached a couple messages to the East Coast from here, and I'm doing the same thing on Sunday to a church in Pennsylvania, preaching on Psalm 116, love the Lord who hears us. And that's my text for Sunday. So it's been great. And, things also to church, doing some filming there because we're trying to stay connected to people during this time and send out just updates to them. So that's been great. It's been full during this time, really. Yeah.
I know we talked a little bit before about the fact that you're also using this time to do some projects around the house.
Oh, yeah.
Your wife during
Hey,
quarantine.
Nathan, can I jump in here and zoom bomb
Sure.
this just real fast?
Yeah, why not?
I think the most important project that Dr. Hargrove needs to address is let's talk about that tremendous silver wisdom displaying beard that he's working on. I mean, we got to talk about that facial hair. That's reformational. What does Mrs. Hargrove think? I mean, this is next level, Carl.
Yeah, that's beyond reformational. That's celestial. I'm going for reformational. I think I might be able to pull off reformational, but that is celestial.
Yeah, we'll see. Right now the verdict is still out. Years ago I had a beard, full beard, many years ago, but it was all pepper. Now it's like salt. But hopefully some wisdom comes with this. We'll see. She's right now, I'm at home a lot and I'm doing honeydews. So I have a lot of brownie points built up. So at this point, it's okay. Yeah. So I have some credit.
Tell us about some of those honeydew projects.
Yeah, I have some credit. I've been to Lowe's a number of times. My wife, she's into planting and gardening, and we've had, lemons and oranges and apples, pomegranates, I think. What else have we had from there? Tomatoes and cucumbers that she's planted in the yard. So she says, hey, I want some raised beds. Well, how big? Like 3x4? What do you want? No, like maybe make them like 3x10. So she wants 30 square feet, and she wants 2 of them. So guess what? I go to Lowe's, I get me some 2x10x10s. Then I get a 2x10x12, cut that into 4, find me some nice, this is what's so important when you do things like this. You have to have really nice deck screws. And I found some really nice deck screws. They're so smooth. Get out the nice DeWalt drill, put the bit in, got together with my younger son. So we built these 2 big, 3x10 raised beds for her. So that's a part of what I've been doing here on this Safer at Home.
I feel like maybe you're teaching, it feels like this is a perfect transition into like a homiletics preaching lab. It's not just about the big boards of your sermon. It's about the finer points. You have to have the perfect transitions to tie things together. It's those deck screws.
That's the deck screws. I mean, they were really nice. And that's amazing. Here I am talking about how nice these screws were. They just flowed so well. As a matter of fact, that thing is so secure. If the big one comes, the big earthquake that we're waiting on, I'm not sure. It may outlast our house. I mean, it's done well.
So this reminds me, Dr. Hargrove, of my favorite Dr. Hargrove story. Because I used to think you were opposed to farming, but you're actually quite favorable towards actual farming. It's virtual farming that you're an enemy of.
Oh, no. This is so true.
I love, everybody loves Carl Hargrove's voice. He's got the James Earl Jones, of the Master's Seminary. When he reads the scripture, revival breaks loose. But there's a famous story from our pastoral ministries class where Dr. Hargrove was lecturing, and when he started class that day, he noticed an invitation had popped up on his computer. A student had accidentally invited him, and I assume it was an accident, to play some kind of, I don't know, digital kind of game called Farmville.
Farmville.
And you never hear the word Farmville said better than when Dr. Hargrove speaks disdainfully of Farmville. Dr. Hargrove, give us a little taste of that speech that you gave those students that fateful day.
Would you like to hear it? The speech seems to have not died. I think it's now 15 years ago. Who knows how long ago it was? At least a decade. I know that. At least. It could be 15. So the student sends me this, and this is when Facebook had become popular, and everyone's playing little kiddie games, even adults, and even people who are impersonating men were playing them as well. And so the student sends me this game asking if I wanted to join him. So I come to class, and I said, well, I need to have a chat with you gentlemen here. Someone has sent me an invitation, and you are in the room right now. And policy would not allow me to cite your name, although I would easily do it if it were up to me. So why would you expect that I would actually receive an invitation to play Farmville with little piglets and little lambs that are digital? If they were real, I might go to a farm with you and help you out. Wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and work until, the sun goes down. But on my computer, no, not going to happen. So I said, and these are my very words, if ever you send out such an invitation again, I will personally go to Dr. Busenitz's office. And that was Dr. Busenitz, the elder. And if it happened again, I would go to Dr. Busenitz, the younger, as well. And I will personally ask that you be expelled from the Master's Seminary. That was my speech. Unacceptable.
I love this speech. The Gettysburg Address was nice and all, but this is my favorite historical speech.
Yeah.
And it's grown, the legendary status. I think it's in the student handbook now that you're not allowed to play Farmville. You used to not be allowed to dance, but we changed it to not allowed to play Farmville. It's so powerful to hear Hargrove's booming voice with the Farmville. I'm a man. I have a job. I shepherd the flock of God, not pixelated flocks on Facebook. Farmville. Every guy in that classroom that day instantly grew a beard and started to fill out job applications to work night shifts, and it was really impressive.
I just want to hear you say unacceptable.
No, who? Him?
No, I want to hear you say unacceptable.
No, and I said it, and that's when the first time I think I said it, unacceptable. And I said this as well. I said, you are a student at the Master's Seminary. Listen to that word, master. The Master's Seminary. This is not Fuller. You understand? This is not, and I named some other places. This is the Master's Seminary. So, but God was gracious. He repented. He graduated, and he's still in the ministry. Amen. God is gracious.
He wouldn't have been if he hadn't heard that speech. He would have given his life to Farmville. And you rescued many men that day.
Amen.
Legend lives on of Farmville.
Well, hey, Carl, as we conclude our conversation, what words of encouragement would you have for our students who find themselves in the middle of such an unprecedented situation? Any words of pastoral perspective?
Yeah, there is. When this first started to break out, I just said to myself and some people around me, I said, this is fascinating. They said, wait, how can that be fascinating? Because I just began to wonder, what is God going to do with this? How does a sovereign, providential God take something that is shaking the earth, if you will, and part of its core, its sense of security, its sense of financial viability, its sense of its ability to find solutions to the things that ail us. They're rattled, but God isn't. And so this is the God that we serve. Even from Psalm 116, as David cries out, I love the Lord because he hears my voice and my supplications. And it's an opportunity for us. I remember my football days, there were obstacle courses that we went through. We tried to avoid things, but we tried to avoid them so that when we played, we could take advantage of the opportunity that was in front of us. That opposing person, that was an opportunity for us to shine, if you will, to use our skills. And God takes us through things in life, and he's saying, well, let me teach you something, but don't see it all as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity. And that's my mindset through this. What's the opportunity that's in front of me? How is this providential, sovereign God who controls all things going to use this? And here's the key. How will I be a part of it? Yeah. And a part of it means I need to cry out to the Lord. Maybe there may be some of these brothers, our brothers that have needs. Cry out to the Lord. Reach out to your other brothers who are part of our family. Reach out to the faculty in ways that maybe we can help you through this period of time. Reach out to your fellow brother and pray with them. My prayer class yesterday, doing it through Microsoft Teams, we just talked about the issues of life. I had my notes. We were at a certain section and a certain part in the syllabus, but we put that aside and we talked about some of the things that people are facing. And we spent about an hour in prayer. We just prayed. It was an opportunity. I could say, well, yes, this date, we're supposed to talk about this. And I quoted from Lloyd Jones. And Lloyd Jones talked about, preachers doing his day, particularly those in the Anglican Church, as they had a certain schedule for their preaching. And he says that you have to not let the pew dictate to the pulpit, but at the same time, the pulpit needs to understand what's happening in the pew. And he says, if an earthquake takes place, surely you're going to break away from your schedule to preach about what has happened. And Lloyd Jones, in his unique manner, says, if an earthquake cannot change your schedule, you're beyond hope, he says. And it's shepherd people when they need shepherding. And we need to shepherd one another as well. Trust the providential God through this. Be safe, take precautions, be bold when you need to be, fight the fights that you need to fight, and believe that God is going to use you during this time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's well said and so helpful. And I know that's going to be encouraging to our men who can be reminded from all of this conversation not to be lazy during this time, but to trust the Lord.
Sure.
Austin,
Amen.
any final thoughts?
Everything Carl says sounds better than when Nathan and I say it, and especially when it's about God's sweet providence. What's Spurgeon say about the pillow? Carl, you remember that? Isn't providence the pillow on which the believer lays his head?
That's right.
I think I heard you say that before.
Yeah.
It's a helpful reminder. Our mutual friend Vodi Balkum, he said that, rather than seeing this as a family lockdown, see this as an opportunity for family revival.
Oh, amen.
That's what Dr. Hargrove's talking about.
Yeah,
right?
amen.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, it really is opportunity. Take advantage of it, guys.